This is Thomas Miller back with a second video of waveform audio analysis of some of the scenes from the shooting in Las Vegas on October 1st. If you've not seen the first video, you might take a look at the link below and watch that, because you'll see a better context of why I'm doing this and the inquiry into simply wanting to discover the truth. Some of these scenes, especially the ones in the first video, created substantial enough doubt in my mind that there were multiple cadences going on at the same time. And by transforming these to waveform audio, you can take a better look at it and not only pick it apart, play it over and over and over again easily. And that's what we did in the first video. From that, some comments came asking about the three scenes that we're going to look at here. And I think there are some interesting findings that we can take a look at to further either dispel a second or third shooter or possibly create that doubt. The first scene is this. Now, I didn't do this in the first video. I'm going to do it in this series where we will watch the video footage and then go take a look at the waveform audio. This is from somebody, it's a guy who was stationed near the exit or the gate number 7. And if you remember from the scanner audios, there were early reports of shots being fired near gate 7. And perhaps this video and subsequent audio that we'll look at on the waveform might explain why they were saying shots were possibly fired near gate 7. There's a real interesting crowd reaction. Keep your eye up here in between the two well, it's not a Mandalay Tower, but right in here, this 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock position, because you'll see the crowd literally just start moving toward this guy before the first series of rapid fire begins during Jason Aldean's song. So watch this and then we'll take a look at the audio. There's a pop. Second. Third. Now the song finishes. Now watch over there between the two towers as the crowd just begins to, he pans back over. The crowd is spooked. See? They're not panicking, but they're moving. Let's take a look at the audio. And then, of course, we know what happens after that. You can see the pops right here. Now, that is an interesting... See, that to me is just, I don't know, it's like a crack. It's a pop. I thought of it as a slate for a film scene. It's just... I don't know. Those of you who are more weapons trained might say, oh, that's a 9mm pistol. I don't know. I'm not, as I said in the first video, I am not that expert. I'm just somebody who's pulling these audio tracks to take a better look at. It's the first one. There's the second and third. If you notice, they get softer each time. So the first one is much more prominent. You could see that. Then the second one, a little bit softer. Third one, it's a little bit softer still. Then the song ends. We'll go up here to the upper waveform and just skip through this. Then the song ends. Then he says we're going to pick it up a little. Starts the second one. There are two more. And then this final pop. Now this is not one of them. This is just noise right here. The first pop, as he picks back up, is right here. You see, those are two pretty close together. Now that crowd is starting to move toward us. The guy asks what's going on, and nobody answers. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Now, I highlighted this little section right here because the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th pop that we hear like this. And again, this one is more prominent, more like the first one. And see, I don't know if that's, he doesn't move, the camera doesn't move. He pans around some, but he doesn't move. Maybe the noisemaker of whatever is making these pops moves relative to him. This pop is louder. And then right here is where the shooting begins, right there. That's the escalation of the machine gun fire. So again, listen to how this plays out. So what's interesting about this is that the crowd is spooked. So if we go back to here, see, we've already had the 3, then there's the lull right there, and then he pans back around. The next song hasn't started yet. But see, the crowd is, whatever it is, they want away from it. And now that very infamous riff that sets off the very unfortunate fire. So those of you who are more weapons trained might put in the comments below what you think those 3 are. Now let's take a look at the next one. Okay, now this one is a video that I will put the link below. It will say close-in shots by bushes. You'll have to watch the whole thing to get the context of this. This is a guy and his girlfriend that are way up at the front. And when the shooting begins, he actually laughs at it. He thinks it's funny. And then they start to make their way back out away from the stage. So by now, they have pulled way back away from the stage. So they're at the back of the concert venue. I guess what would be on the north side, if I'm not mistaken. I think the stage was on the south side, and this would be on the north side. And they are kind of hunkered down by some bushes, and they're just watching. You'll see that if you watch the long video. It's only about 4.5 minutes long. But then some other gunfire begins. So watch this, and then we'll listen, and then we'll watch the waveform.
Holy shit!
This motherfucker's still ringing out right now.
What is that?
Okay, let's go. That's close. That's real close.
Now, what's interesting is, again, if you watch the long video, you will have heard several of the bursts that came from the Mandalay Tower. As they are retreating, those bursts get fainter and fainter, and that's what you hear at the beginning.
Holy shit!
Now the question here, so that gunfire you would presume is the same thing that we've heard so many times up by the stage that was coming from the tower. Now it travels right over their heads.
Fucking still ringing out right now.
What is that?
Okay.
Boom, and everybody ducks down as that comes right over them. Let's look at the waveform. That's this series right here. And listen and watch.
Holy shit!
Okay, now there's the visual, and remember from the first video that I did on this, that's that staccato pattern, boom, 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 that we're hearing in the distance. But you notice the size of what we're dealing with here, and then they make their little comments, and then it starts back up again.
Right now.
What is that?
All right, there it starts back up and comes right up over their heads. So the question here obviously is, did this originate from the Mandalay and the guy was swinging the gun around? all the way to the back of the venue that it got that loud? Or did this come from another location? Did this come from the street? Did it come from a gate? Did it come from one of the other hotels or towers nearby? This is a question, again, that those of you with more weapons experience, I would appreciate some comments below to help us understand this. This is the, again, look at this. In fact, let me do this. Let's just make an edit point right here and take this little section out so that we're looking at the first sound, take their comments out. Here's where it picks back up. This is, from the video, seems pretty far away. And this is the next one. Boom, 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 boom. And look, you can even see on the waveform how it just ramps up and comes right up over them. So the question is, did that originate from the same place that this originated from? Pretty sure that this was from the tower. Where did this come from? Where did this start right here? Here is a third scene that some people have been asking about. Could this security guard have been a potential shooter? Let's watch the scene through and then we'll pick it apart. Okay, now I'm seeing several things in here. Let's slow this down. We're going to go frame by frame. First of all, there's a spotlight, flashlight, something, some kind of source of light coming across from right to left. Then our security guy pops up, and a lot of people, I mean, this is sharp that somebody caught this from all of this video in the first place. But notice that he's bringing something up, and obviously that looks like the butt of a gun under his armpit. And he cradles it like a shooter would. He hunches his head down like he was looking through the sights. He kneels down, and we only get a couple of frames. Now, a light starts to come across. Now, that same flashlight looks to me like is just coming back around the other direction. That has an oval shape to it. That doesn't seem to have... Now, somebody could say, if that was a gunshot right there, would the barrel of the gun, would the flash coming out of the barrel of the gun have created that kind of reflection to the left only and not to the right, not straight ahead? And you can even see it up here, right here, on another person right there. Let's just continue on here. That's 4 more frames. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this camera person, the person holding this phone, obviously got spooked by the gunfire. And we lose the visibility of it. Let's play it through again. Obviously, nobody knows what's happening. Nobody can figure out what's going on at this point. This guy comes up. What is he doing right there? That is a really good question. Is he shining that flashlight? Or is he shooting a gun? And then when it falls apart like that, then we see him step back into the picture. I think that's him. Now, are these people injured? Again, we don't know that. Did he just shoot them? One thing is, this guy in the cowboy hat who's coming into frame right now does not seem to be that rattled, like somebody was just shooting directly next to him. It also, he's trying to move away from the source of the shots, which of course is, we think, up at the 32nd floor. So he seems more to be trying to get out of the way rather than somebody just shot somebody next to me kind of movement. It looks to me like. And then the security guard steps into the shot, and you saw him stand up right there. I'm thinking that's the same guy that we saw at the beginning. I'm thinking that's this guy. Now, it looks to me also right here that this is also a security guard. So you have one here, one here. One of these two stands up and walks back into the frame. Now, this guy doesn't have anything in his hands. Let's look at the waveform. The waveform on this doesn't tell us much because there's so much noise going on around it, but just listen through it as what we just saw. Now, this phone is about 5 feet away from this shooting. And one of the reasons that I don't think that guy was shooting is because of what I showed in the first video. This is the audio from the taxi cab driver who was parked below the 32nd floor nest, and listen to what she heard from that point. So she's 300 feet or so away, and she heard this. All right? This cell phone is 5 feet away, and it hears this. I just don't think that was that person shooting. But again, the reason I'm putting this on here is for you to weigh in. So if you would like to put some comments below and give us your impression of how you read this, would be greatly appreciated. The whole purpose of this is to seek the truth.